Well, the day is finally upon us. Welcome back to the channel, and this is Jamie. I'm doing a cover on the latest news that was just announced by the Land Transport Authority in Singapore, the 1st of May, Labor Day. It was actually published on the Straits Times, that's our national newspaper. Something like this doesn't bode very well for e-scooters in general, because as mentioned, 90% of all e-scooters in Singapore does not comply with the current regulations. But given that, a slew of accidents happening over the last couple of years, I guess this is the last straw for the government. They have decided to step in, and it is said here in a surprise announcement on Tuesday, the Land Transport Authority said it is exercising its powers with immediate effect to regulate the use of bicycles, PMDs, and power-assisted bicycles. So the powers cover the use of devices on footpaths, shared cycling paths, and roads, as well as their sales, the LTA added. The new law spells out where the devices may be used and how fast they can go. For example, PABs are not allowed on footpaths, while e-scooters cannot go on public roads. The speed limits are 15 km per hour on footpaths and 25 km an hour on park connectors and shared paths. First-time offenders who flout the rules and speed limits may be fined up to $1,000 or could be jailed up to 3 months. I'm assuming that you could be jailed up to 3 months if you actually knock into someone. So, or you could be fined or jailed. Repeat offenders may have their fine and jail term double. So basically that's how it is in Singapore. They catch you one time, it's a fine, potentially a jail, or both. They catch you a second time, you can be sure that your fine will be double or even triple, and you can be sure that there will be a jail term. And of course, they all go on to add a little illustration here to say what you can or cannot do. And the new law also sets limits on the size and speed of the devices that can be used on public paths. These cannot weigh more than 20 kilos each and must have their speeds capped at 25 kilometers an hour. Now, these regulations for PMDs have been around for some time already. I believe this is LTA's re-emphasis on the regulations and PMD limitations. They have been repeating themselves over and over again, and even in this latest announcement, they have once again reiterated the limitations of all these PMDs. Now, those who use devices that flout these rules, meaning non-compliant PMDs, can be fined up to $5,000 and jailed up to 3 months or both. Now, this basically means that for a first-time offender using a non-compliant device, you could potentially be fined up to $5,000 or jail. So this is serious, $5,000 for using a non-compliant PMD. Now, in the case of hit and run accidents, those who do not stop and render assistance, you face a maximum fine of $3,000 or a jail term of up to a year, or both. Now, those who refuse to give their particulars or lie to LTA enforcement officers face a higher maximum fine of $5,000 in addition to the maximum 1-year jail term. Meaning to say that if you are using a non-compliant device or a compliant device, if you are involved in a hit and run accident and you refuse to give your particulars, be sure that your fine of $3,000 will go to as high as $5,000 as long as you are a first-time offender. Alright, there were 225 errant e-scooters caught riding illegally on roads this year. So I think in this recent news, they have actually compiled some figures. 225 errant e-scooters caught just this year alone, and that's in 2018. And we're now in we're done with April, we're now in the first week of May. So that's actually quite a lot of accidents, considering we are such a small country. Now, besides users, the new law also targets vendors of non-compliant devices. Those caught selling them may be fined up to $5,000 and jilt up to 3 months or both. So I think this is actually active pressure for both consumers as well as vendors. So the LTA is really serious this time to really just clamp down on all these non-compliant devices. Now the LTA said that it has been holding safe riding clinics, which is good, for users and dialogues with retailers to prepare the public and industry for the new law. I think that is definitely a step in the right direction. The Active Mobility Act was passed by Parliament in January last year. Now the Active Mobility Act is unique to Singapore right now, and I think it is a step in the right direction. At least there is a legal framework within which, you know, we can all work towards a car like Singapore. Now at that time, the Senior Minister for Transport, Mrs. Josephine Teo, said the new law was introduced to safeguard the safety of pedestrians, even as active mobility was encouraged to support a car like Singapore. There is not a shadow of doubt that pedestrian safety is paramount, she has said. And even in my previous videos, the emphasis has always and must be on the pedestrian. That will not change. I still feel very strongly about that, and it's good that the Senior Minister of State for Transport is echoing the same sentiments as well. Now, after the act was passed, the government kept mum on when it would take effect. Early last month, a government panel formed in 2015 to develop a set of rules governing the use of footpaths and cycling paths was still gathering public feedback, hence the AMAP. The feedback looked at how cyclists and PMD users should behave when travelling on footpaths and in crowded areas, including whether they should ride more slowly than the recommended top speed of 15 kilometers an hour that has now become law. Alright, there is also another table telling you what kind of device. Again, a re-emphasis on whatever that they have shared so far under the Active Mobility Act. Alright, and then we've got the regulations or the PMD limitations. Now the LTA's surprise announcement on Tuesday came on the back of the rising problem of reckless riders. As PMDs become more popular, on average there are about 3 accidents a week involving users of mobility devices. There were 110 accidents between January and September last year, with about 30 of them occurring on public paths between pedestrians and mobility device. The rest took place at road junctions and on roads when users flout traffic rules. Besides having to observe the rules set out under the new law, those who own PMDs will have to register their devices from the second half of this year. The exact date when registration starts has not been announced. So whatever I just read, I'm going to post the link in the description box below. You guys can definitely go through the entire article, and at the end there is I think a PDF file that you could just scroll through about the Active Mobility Act. Now, what do I have to say about this new move? I wouldn't say it's a surprise move or a sudden move. I think enough is enough. We've seen enough accidents. We've seen a lot of people, you know, riding on the roads, endangering themselves and endangering pedestrians. I think it's important that we take care of the safety of the pedestrians. I think that has to be priority. Too many of these people are just taking advantage of the availability of very powerful e-scooters like the Dualtron. Hence the caption, Singapore's Dualtron Graveyard. Now, if you don't live in Singapore and you reside out of Singapore and you really want to get your hands on a Dualtron, I highly recommend you to go to Big Wheel Scooters Singapore. Go to the marketplace, the different marketplaces that we have in Singapore. You will see a ton of Dualtrons on sale right now, and I believe that you are able to perhaps make an offer directly to all these owners. If you can arrange a pickup, I understand from one of my subscribers in one of my giveaways, he mentioned that if he happens to win my Dualtron Raptor giveaway, he will make arrangements to have the e-scooter transported out from Singapore, and he will take care of all the courier arrangements. Now, I believe that if that's something that you can do make these owners an offer, and you could get yourself a Dualtron in a very, very good condition with some aftermarket parts. There's so many on sale right now. I feel really sad. I am still holding on to my Dualtron Ultra. I've spent way too much on it. Doesn't matter if it's going to be a museum piece in my living room. It's fine. I could still ride it in my own compounds. So I will be holding on to it, and I hope that sometime in the near future the LTA will revise the weight limit of the PMDs that we use in Singapore. I know some of you are even asking, is it an offense to not register a non-compliant PMD? It is definitely not an offense. I've written into the Land Transport Authority before about my stealth electric bike. They have written back to say that as long as I keep it within the compounds of my home, I should be okay, as long as I do not use it on the road. Now, is this the end of the Dualtron? I really don't think so. I believe that technology is improving every day, every minute as we speak. You know, we're gonna have lighter, stronger materials. We're gonna have more advancement in tech. In fact, with the new Dualtron Compact, it looks to be compliant. The only other problem that I have with the Dualtron e-scooters is that they do not have a very robust software interface, meaning to say that you are not able to make any adjustments via Bluetooth, you know, which you can find at DYU. You can turn on your lights electronically via Bluetooth if you like. So perhaps Minimotos in Korea, if you are listening, you should definitely pay some attention to the software side of your e-scooter, and I really hope, and I'm still looking forward to compliant e-scooters from Dualtron. And just before I conclude today's video, don't forget about the giveaway that I'm doing. I'm not sure if there are many Singaporean subscribers still interested in the giveaway. If you are, by all means participate. But if you are not from Singapore and if you like to participate, why not just make arrangements for a pickup and have the Dualtron Raptor delivered to yourself. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to get in touch with the winner. As always, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe. You guys ride safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.